Hey everyone, it's David from Oberlo, and today I'm going to walk you through how to build a Shopify store with Oberlo. From top to bottom, we're going to cover everything you need to know to launch your own dropshipping business. Before we get started, you can win the store that we're going to build today, a full-fledged store ready to take to customers. So stick around until the end to learn how. All great dropshipping stores start with a great product, so let's find ours. Let's take a look at my screen. All right, we're going to start by heading over to Oberlo.com. Oberlo is a dropshipping app that integrates with Shopify. Dropshipping, if you're not familiar, is when you take products from different suppliers and sell them in your store. With dropshipping, you don't hold inventory, you make sales online, place the order with the supplier, and then they will mail it directly to your customer. All right, as you can see, signing up for Oberlo is super easy. There's no credit card required. Just give them your email and you are in. The first thing we're gonna do is go to Search Products. This is where we can find products to move over to our store. You can see all the different product categories already in Oberlo. These 9 categories featured here are our most popular categories, so that's a good place to start. If you don't know what you want to sell, you can browse around. For our store though, we already know what we're gonna sell: socks. So we'll start by going to women's clothing and accessories and looking at socks. All right, so here's the socks section within women's clothing and accessories. These yellow ones look good and they're also really cheap. You can see that they'll cost 78 cents for us. That's not the price that it will cost in your store, but instead what we'll pay for it. So 78 cents is definitely an affordable product on our end. These Christmas socks listed at $163 might also look good in our store, especially during the holiday season, so we can add those to our import list. So we'll go to the next page where we have a lot more socks to choose from. These socks here with the blue-eyed cat look good, so we will also add them to our import list. All right, so here we are in our import list, and this is where your products are gonna hang out after you select them, but before they are pushed to your Shopify store. This is the best place to edit the product title, the product descriptions, and to take a closer look at the images that come with the product that you're importing. And you're never gonna be quite certain what's inside the product description. Here we have lots of pictures, there's bold text, there's a bullet point list. You never know exactly. The variants tab shows you the different types of this product that will be imported to your store. So usually this means different colors. For example, you'd have a white pair of socks, a blue pair of socks, and a green pair of socks. And here are the images that will be imported along with your product. All right, so let's go back to the product overview. All right, we can see here that we should probably change this title. Popular, funny, unisex, short socks, 3D cat, printed, anklet socks, casual socks is not the best title for our product. So we can remove that and then put in something that's a little bit catchier. Now I haven't put a ton of research into the product names, but I just want to walk you through how this looks. So we'll call these blue-eyed cat 3D anklet socks. That's not the catchiest title, but it's a little bit better than what we had to work with before. So for the product description, this is a little bit messy. There's probably too many images here, so we'll want to go ahead and get rid of all this and then cook up our own description that we'll have on our product page. I won't make you sit through watching me write a description, so I'm just going to paste in some text here just to give you an idea of how this will work when you do it at your store. All right, so here I've dumped in some text, and the text editing features that you're going to see here are similar to any CMS or word processing system that you've used. So we're going to add some bullet points. You can change the font size, make stuff bold. It's very familiar, very easy to use if you've done anything online. Now with the variants, like we said, sometimes the variants will give you different colors, but here we have entirely different products. So we want to focus on our blue-eyed white cat, not all these other types of cats. So we're going to remove those so that they're not imported to our store along with our original blue-eyed white cat. Because we removed the products, we can also remove the images so that we don't clutter up our store with too many pictures, especially when there are products that we're not going to be offering anyway. So now we have a new title, we have a new description, the variants have been selected, and the images have been selected. We're going to do the same thing now with these 2017 Christmas women's sport socks, unisex yoga socks, cartoon metal socks, happy New Year gift for women or girl #XTJ. Again, not the best title, so let's drop in something that's a little catchier. Cartoon Santa socks will work for now. The description, there's not much to work with here, so we're going to get rid of that and drop in our own text. And then once again, we see with the variants that they're not simply different colors, but they are in fact different products. And so we don't want to import all these different products along with the original socks. So we're gonna untick these boxes so that we don't clutter up our product pages. And now that we've trimmed down the variants, we can also trim down the images that are gonna be imported. So let's uncheck any of these images that we don't want or need in our store. Now, while we're talking about product photos, it's worth pointing out that you really will want to be taking your own product photos for your store eventually. It's fine to import these images along with your products via Oberlo, but what's gonna be best for your store is if you order the products yourself and then take your own picture. A lot of the pictures you get through the suppliers won't be great, plus taking your own will set your store apart, and in case anybody else is drop shipping these products, you will distinguish yours from theirs. Now we'll go in here and edit the description of our third pair of socks, and of course, when you write descriptions for your store, there's a lot to consider. You want to make it engaging, you want people reading it to be excited about the products, and there's also search engine optimization techniques that you can use to make sure that search engines can find your products. Again, we're not going to go through all those steps here, we just want to go through the mechanics of how it looks, but definitely there's a lot to consider with your product description. All right, now let's look at the variant. Now here we do have different colors of our products, and you can see in the ships from column that each color has a different country that it ships from, either China or the United States. Because you're probably more likely to make sales to American customers than Chinese ones, we're going to only import the variant that ships from the United States. This will reduce your shipping times and make it easier for your customers to get their products quickly. You have to remember that you'll be competing with stores that ship in a week or even a couple days, and so anything we can do to shave off delivery time is awesome. All right, heading over to the images tab, we'll want to have an image for each pair of socks that we want to sell. We're going to take these images with the white background just to keep them consistent. So we don't want this wood paneling under the image, but instead just white so that there's a consistent feel across our products. All right, now we're going to go back into the search products field and find some socks for our men customers. So we're going to go to men's clothing and accessories, find the socks, and then do the same sock hunt that we just did with the women's socks. We're gonna place a premium on price and fun, and so we find some socks that are affordable and look cool. So these socks with the famous paintings look like they'll be a good addition to our store. And then we'll also find some seasonal socks, something warm for winter. How about these? All right, then we'll go back to the import list and do the same thing that we did with our women's socks. As you can see, there's still some goofy titles on these, and I'm sure that the descriptions are not consistent across all these different products, which come from different suppliers. We'll clean this up. Next, we will take a look at the variants to see how many different types of products are lumped into this one product. Now with these variants, you can see that the design is more or less the same and that it is indeed only the colors that are different. So we're gonna go ahead and keep all those variants. And then for the pictures, as we mentioned before, we just wanna have consistency. So we're gonna take these white backgrounds where it's just one pair of socks per picture, and we're gonna import those and only those for now. If there's more pictures that we wanna import later, it's no problem to come back and do this again and get the pictures, get any additional pictures that we need. All right, now for the famous painting socks, you can see the Mona Lisa, the Scream painting, some of the best paintings in the history of the world right there on a pair of socks. This will be perfect for our fun sock store. We'll give it a title that's intuitive, like famous painting socks. For the description, you could really have some fun with this one. For now, we're just gonna chuck in some placeholder text. But of course, with a product like this, which is inherently fun, you could really go to town with that description. Here, when we take a closer look at the variants, you can see that not all these variants actually are famous socks. For example, the Statue of Liberty is very famous, but it doesn't really fit with what we're going for with the famous paintings. And so we're gonna remove that one. There's also, let's see, a portrait of George Washington. We can remove that. And then there's this ocean scene with the waves. We will take that out as well. So now we're left with Starry Night and Mona Lisa and Scream. These are the sort of socks that people will expect if they're looking for famous painting socks. Again, we don't need to import anything that we're not going to be selling, so we can designate exactly the photos that we want to come with the product when we import them to our store. we untick the Statue of Liberty, untick George Washington, and that will be good on the image front. All right, and finally, the last pair of socks that we're gonna do before we head over to our store. It's one pair winter warm men's cotton socks, ankle crew, low cut, casual, business, classic cotton socks, free size. I'm not sure what free size means, so as I said before, you really do have to pay attention to the titles and descriptions because you never know what you're gonna get when you do your importing. Here we'll change the description. We're gonna take all of these variants, that looks good, and then of course get one image for each variant. You can see this image in the bottom right has a logo on it, so we're gonna untick that one. We don't need that. So now we have socks against white backgrounds looking good. Okay. All right, so now our import list is looking good. We have 3 pairs of women's socks, 3 pairs of men's socks. We're almost ready to go. Before we import anything to our store, let's quickly go over the prices here. You can see the cost column is what you will pay when you order the product, and the price column, which is twice as much by default, is what your customers will pay to buy the product. We can adjust our prices by going to settings and clicking on global pricing rules. There are 2 ways to set prices in your store in global pricing rules. The first is with a multiplier. Now when you use a multiplier, the cost of the item, that is what you will pay for it, is multiplied by a set number. So here you can see that the multiplier is 2, which means if the cost of the product is $1, the price in your store by default will be $2. If the cost is $4, the price will be $8. It is simply multiplied by whatever the original cost to you is. The other method is fixed markup. A fixed markup takes the original cost, what you'll pay, and adds an amount to it. If we select fixed markup and put in 5, then the price of the product will be $5 over whatever you paid. If we put in 15, it will be $15 over whatever you paid. And it doesn't matter here if the cost of the product is $1, $10, or $2,000. It's a fixed markup and it doesn't change regardless of the cost. All right, next we're gonna look at the compare at price. Now the compare at price lets you display 2 different prices in your store. And the compare at price, which will always be bigger than the actual price, will be crossed out, and then the price that your customer pays will be the one that appears not crossed out. This is a way to make sure that your customers know that they're getting a good deal because the bigger price is crossed out and the smaller price is the one they're left with. It will give them the sense that they're getting a discount on the item. And so for example, if you set a multiplier of 2 for your product price, you could set a multiplier of say 3.5 for your compare at price. So that means if you have a $5 item, the actual cost for your customers will be $10, but the compare at price, which will be crossed out, is actually $17.50. So they'll see $17.50 crossed out and they're gonna end up paying $10. That's a great deal and they're gonna love you for it. All right, next we're gonna take a look at advanced pricing rules. This lets you get a little more customized with your prices, and this is great if you have products that have a huge discrepancy in how much they cost. For example, items that are less than 5 and also over 50. Here you can set a cost range and then define your markup for each range. You could choose a fixed markup for one cost range and a multiplier for a different cost range. And there's a lot of ways to get really customized with this. And as I said, it's great if you have big differences in how much things cost. Finally, here at the bottom, this assign cents option is great if you want your costs to look clean. So if you put 99 in there on assign cents, then that means that your product price will always end with 99. So for example, if the cost of the product, what you're gonna pay, is $1.41, and you have a multiplier of 2, then the price in your store by default will appear as $2.82. $2.82 is a pretty quirky number to charge for a product. But if you put 99 in here on the assign cents field, then we're gonna automatically round up. And so the cost won't be $2.82, it'll be $2.99, which everybody understands. Now let's jump back to my screen. All right, now that we have our pricing rules set up, we're gonna go up here to connect a store. And this is where things get fun. This is gonna take us over to the Shopify sign up page. Here's where we're gonna enter in our email address, create a password, and choose a store name. Now there's a lot of science that goes into choosing a store name, so you're gonna wanna be very deliberative about this one. We actually made a video just about choosing a store name, so you can check that out here when you have a minute. All right, now let's head back to my screen. Now your Shopify store is gonna be created within seconds. They're gonna ask for some details about yourself. So here we're just getting started, so we're gonna select I'm not selling products yet, and then we're gonna say that our revenue is 0, as in we're just getting started. Shopify is gonna ask you for some personal details here, and if you're like me, you sometimes might make up details on forms like this. But with Shopify, when we're launching our store, you're gonna wanna make sure that all this information is correct. We are, after all, launching a business, and we do want to get paid, so giving your real information, your real phone number, is a good way to make sure that happens. All right, now we are inside of our Shopify backend. We now have something of a store to work with, and this is where things really get fun. So here you see that Shopify has curated some content for you about how to start a business, e-commerce inspiration, and some other goodies for people like us who are just getting started. You can, of course, read all that. We are going to skip that for now and head over to Online Store. The first thing we're going to do with our online store is select a theme. Now, themes are kind of the backbone of your store. It affects the layout, it affects how things will look, the way you design your product categories. It's the infrastructure for your store. So there's a lot of different options on Shopify to choose from, including 10 free ones. Now the paid themes are much more powerful, they're much more customizable, but because we're just getting started, we're gonna look at just the free ones. Brooklyn is a theme that is very popular and it looks really good. It's a really clean theme made specifically for apparel stores. We are in the apparel business with our sock shop. So let's take a closer look at the Brooklyn theme. You can see that it's very bright, it's vibrant, and I think that our socks are gonna look awesome inside of here. So now that we've taken a stroll through the Brooklyn theme, we can go ahead and click on Add Theme. Now when you click on Add Theme, it's not gonna automatically launch the theme. It's going to add it to your store, and then we go in here to our online store home and click on Publish. All right, so now that we've published the Brooklyn theme in our store, we're gonna head back over to Oberlo and to our import list. Now the import list is where our 6 different pairs of socks are hanging out. And to get them over to our new store, we are going to connect a store. All right, so to integrate Oberlo with our new store, we're gonna click on Connect Store. Now by default, your Shopify store URL is going to be the name of the store with hyphens .myshopify.com. So for my store, which I called Sock and Key, it's gonna be sock-key.myshopify.com. So here it says you're about to install the Oberlo app. We're gonna confirm that, click on Install App, and then there's a few settings that we need to take care of, and this is important, so we need to pay close attention to this part. The first checkbox here, set new products as published. That means when you import something from Oberlo to Shopify, that product is going to be immediately available. You could disable that if you want to be extra cautious, but we're going to keep it checked just to make things a little bit simpler. You can also adapt the default weight settings from kilograms to pounds to grams. For our American customers, we're going to make this pounds. And then the auto update section is super important. So here it says when a product is no longer available, we could do nothing, unpublish the product, or set quantity to 0. The best thing to do, in my opinion, is to click unpublished product. That means that if the supplier that you've integrated with runs out of this product, it's gonna disappear from your store. Now you'll be notified about this, so you can take any actions that you need to replace it or to adapt your collections. But we don't want it to be something that people can make purchases on if you don't have a product to sell. That'll cause a lot of headaches with really long shipping times or with refund requests and so on. Now when a variant is no longer available, we're gonna do the same thing, remove variant. Just like with unpublishing products, this is gonna save you potential headaches of people who want things and order things that aren't actually available. So we're gonna save those settings. Those will be our settings now moving forward. We can adapt those at any time, but this is a good set of rules to start with. So now here we are back in our import list. We see our 6 pairs of socks, and we're gonna click on the select all box and then import all to store. After a few seconds of whirling here, all the products are going to appear in your Shopify store. So let's head back over to Shopify, click on products, which as you can see now is empty and untouched, and voila, here are our 6 products. Okay, now one thing that most shoppers expect when they do some online shopping is that things will be grouped in a way that they're easy to find. So the first collection that we're gonna create is going to be women's socks. Now you can be as detailed as you want with this description. It's something that people might stumble across on Google, and you want to make sure that they have all the information they need. We're gonna keep it simple and just put the hottest fashion in women's sockwear. We could do better than that, you can do better than that, but we'll save that for another day. Now for the collection type, I'm gonna choose manual. This will create a little bit of extra work for you, but because we don't have that many products yet, manual is a good way to go just to get started. We don't need to automate things just yet, given that we only have 6 products. So when we manually add these products to our collection, it's as simple as just clicking on them, and then they are going to appear in the collection. There's a few different ways you can sort them. Here they're sorted by best selling, but because we don't have any data to work with, let's choose A to Z. So now our blue-eyed cat socks are at the top, and that is how the collection will appear to people who end up in our women's socks collection. We'll do one more right now for men's socks. This is gonna be the same routine, and again, these collections are really important to do because this is kind of how people expect to shop. Okay, we'll again select on manual, so we're gonna put the products into this collection ourselves. That's no problem because again, we don't have that many products to choose from. So here we go to add products, click on our men's socks, and within seconds, we're gonna have 2 collections to add to our store. So we have the famous painting socks, the warm low-cut ankle socks, and the warm winter socks. Add those to the collection, and we are ready to roll. All right, now we have 3 different products in our men's socks collection. We are going to, once again, sort them by product title so that our famous painting socks, which are very fun, will be the lead item in this collection. Okay, now that we have 2 collections to work with, here we are back at our online store main page, and we're gonna click on Customize. And this is when we start to make our store really look like an online store. So let's start at the top and customize the header. Now for our logo, we're going to upload a file, and we actually got these logo options from Hatchful. Hatchful is Shopify's online logo generator. So what you do is you go in, you give them the name of your store, you tell them what type of store it is, you choose from different types of logos, and then they give you different options to use in your store. And some of these are paid, a lot of them are free, and it's a great way if you, like me, are not so artistic and you need a little help getting your logo off the ground. So this is from Hatchful. Up here, we can customize the width of the logo. So now we have 350 pixels wide. That looks like a decent size. The next thing we need to do is add some imagery. So we're gonna replace this gray placeholder image with an image of our own. Now I've actually just downloaded some stock images of people wearing socks, and this, as I mentioned earlier, would be better if you have your own product photos. So if you ordered some of the products that you're gonna be selling and then found one of your photographically inclined friends to help you out, that would be a much better option. At the moment, we're just going to use an image of socks that aren't actually in our store. This is not something you wanna do, but for the time being, while we're building, this will get the job done. All right, so now we have a background image to go with our logo, and we will customize the text that appears over that image. So we'll of course want the name of our business right there. The subheading, we can put something catchy like free your feet. Then we want this button to be here to make sure people know that they can shop right away once they land at your store. I'll change shop now to sock now, just to make us that much more charming. And then you just choose the link that this button leads to. So we're gonna have it go to our main product overview page, which is something that Shopify creates by default with these products that we already imported. Now, one of the cool things about Brooklyn is that you can have a slideshow with multiple images scrolling across the main screen. So we're gonna upload another image, again, some cool socks that we found at a stock photo site, and we're gonna go through the same steps that we just did. So we're gonna replace the text of Hero Banner with our company name, and then the subheading, again, we wanted something memorable, something that people might find charming and make them get in the mood to do some shopping. So we're gonna put the best socks in the world, and then Sockbuster deals on the button. All right, now that we have a couple pictures there, we can edit exactly how long they appear on screen. So by default, they're going to appear for 5 seconds, but we can lengthen that to 7 or 10 seconds, no problem. We can also look at how our store will appear on different devices. So here's how it's going to look on a smartphone, and there's a lot that you can do while you're building your store to make sure that it's being built exactly how you want it and that it's looking how you want it. So now we can see that the slides are going across the screen. Here we have that second image, and that's going to be replaced by the first one, and it's really starting to look like a store now. For the time being, we are only going to go with one image, so we're going to remove this second slide. You can add that again later. You can add as many slides as you want, but one will get the job done for now. So we'll click on Save. So now we have, again, the company name. We have a CTA right there, a call to action right there for people who arrive at the store. And now let's scroll down and make sure that the rest of the homepage looks how we want it. So by default, you can see that there's a few spots to put in custom HTML. There's also a newsletter sign up field and a featured collection. So this is how the Brooklyn theme comes by default. For now, we're gonna get rid of this custom HTML. This is very powerful. These are sections that you can definitely leverage to do a lot of fun stuff on your store. But again, we're just launching, so we don't want to do any coding just yet. So we'll remove those, we'll remove this featured collection, and now we have kind of a simpler layout to work with. We're going to add a collections list. This is where we're going to feature the collections that we built earlier. And this is super simple. So we'll go to select collection. We see all of our collections right there. So women's socks, and we see it pops up in the preview. Collection number 2 will be men's socks. Again, just go in here and select that, and now we have a couple collections. Now you'll see that there's a third collection option here. We're gonna leave that blank for now and fill it in later, just to give you a further example of how to import products. But for now, we'll just leave that blank. We'll go with our women's socks and men's socks and build out the rest of the page. Oh yeah, let's update collection list to say something a little bit better, like some of our faves. There we go. Save that, and now let's keep on optimizing our homepage. The newsletter field, I personally like that to be at the bottom. It's a little bit more out of the way. It's still certainly available for anybody who wants to sign up for a newsletter, but this way it won't get in the way of our products, which is what we really want people to be focusing on when they get to our homepage. So, image with text will give us a chance to upload a cool photo of our products, maybe somebody using our products, and then of course the text will give us a chance to talk about all the great benefits that our socks have compared to the rest of the sock market. Because we're not using this photo in our slideshow anymore, we can use it here. And we'll just swap out this text with some stuff that's more engaging. The best socks ever is the best I can do right now. And then, yeah, swap out this placeholder text with something that kind of tells the customer about your store. And so, you know, socks, especially the socks that we've chosen with cats and famous paintings, these are not really serious items. And so you'd want the text here to be lighthearted, to kind of be endearing to the customer. It doesn't need to be super serious. It needs to be, you know, professional, not full of typos, but this is a chance for you to kind of convey the attitude of your store. You know, different stores would want to have different attitudes. We're going with something fun, But if you were selling, expensive sunglasses, then you could be chic here or more modern. If you were selling workout products, you could be more motivational or more inspirational about working hard, etc. Socks do not evoke a sense of working hard. So we're just gonna have some fun stuff about loving your feet and having the best socks ever. Okay, now we have another spot to put an image with text. So we're gonna find another awesome sock pic. And these pictures, just like with the text, they can kind of enhance the mood that you want at your store. So I feel like this windshield shot of somebody who has their feet up while they're driving around in the mountains, that looks good. That's a very fun picture. And so we're just gonna keep doubling down on this fun theme. Replace this image with text with something cooler like we got your socks. And then again, swap out this text with something that reads a little bit better. We can put something whimsical like, what's even better than slipping on a fresh pair of socks. We'll put something like, what's even better than slipping on a fresh, snug pair of comfy socks? Nothing. The sock lovers who come to our store will get that in a heartbeat. And then we're gonna add another button here just because we want to give people as many chances as we can to get to our products. They're on our homepage right now, but we want them to go one step further and get to our product pages and give themselves a chance to make a purchase. So here we'll say your socks are waiting, so they know that they can click on that to get some socks. And now our store continues to look more and more like something where somebody would go and do some shopping. So it's really starting to take shape, and this is when things get exciting. All right, so I mentioned that we left the third collection spot blank here because we were gonna go back into Oberlo and find some more products. So let's do that now, just to definitely get the hang of how we import products from Oberlo. So this third collection spot is someplace where we can put maybe a special item that we have or a seasonal item. So let's say that the 4th of July is coming up and we target a lot of American customers with Facebook ads and Instagram ads. And so we want to try to capitalize on any momentum that we have in the States. And so we're going to go to the men's socks area and search for items that contain USA. And so now we have a bunch of different socks that have stars and stripes and different Americana themed stuff that will be perfect for the upcoming 4th of July season. Go to page 2 here to find one more cool pair of socks. All right, so here we are in the import list. As with the socks we looked at earlier, there are some goofy titles here. This top pair is called Men's American Stars Skate Crew Socks USA, and then it has a bunch of numbers after that. That's not a product title that's gonna convert, so let's give it something a little bit catchier. High American Flag Socks is a little bit better, so we'll go with that. Again, edit the description. We'll choose our variants. Here the variants, it's all the same design, but just different sizes. So we're gonna keep all of those. And then we don't need to import both of these images. We'll just take that first one. Now with this second group, there's a lot of different flags. We don't want all of these flags. We just want the American one. So we don't need to account for the Brazil or German flags in the title. And so we'll do stars and striped socks. And then here, again, we'll be careful with the variants, not import everything, but instead just the product that we're looking at, which is the American flag socks. The group sock photo can go, all those other can go. And so now we have 2 pair of American flag socks that we'll be importing. No Brazil, no Germany, okay. Now we're ready to go with this second group. We don't want to import product images for products that we don't have, but as you'll see here, there are actually different angles and different types of images for the products that we have. So here's a close-up of the American socks we're selling, so we can go ahead and bring those over to our store along with the bigger images that we selected originally. So that's good, and again, this should not replace taking your own product photos, which is something that anybody with a smartphone can do. There's a lot of really good editing software out there to make homemade pictures appear professional. So be sure to keep that in mind when you are thinking about product photos. Again, for our original store build, the imported photos will get the job done. So now we select the different angles of this product, and we have our 3 new socks, which are gonna join the 4th of July collection. We're gonna push all of those over to our store, and those now, after that click, are gonna be available in our Shopify store. So we'll go back to the main area here and click on products. And now, as you can see, the new socks are there, and we're gonna make a new collection for our 4th of July promotional push. We will call them Hot 4th of July Deals. Nobody's gonna be able to turn that down, so we're gonna save it and then select which products belong to that collection. All right, so we've added our American flag socks to our 4th of July collection, and we are looking good to round out our homepage with yet another collection. Put them in order, and we are ready to go. So now we're gonna go back to our theme in the online store area and just go through the same steps that we did earlier. So click on Customize, go to this Featured Collections area, which we renamed to some of our faves. And here where it says Example Collection Title, we are going to replace that with our Hot 4th of July Deals. Save that, and now we're all set. And now our homepage really is rounded out with 3 collections, multiple images, lots of calls to action, and an email sign-up spot. So we're looking good to keep on building our store. All right, so now we have lots of the key components we need for our online store. We have products, we have collections, we have buttons for people to find products. Things are looking good, but there's a few more things that we should do to make them feel extra comfortable shopping at our store. After all, most people will not have heard of Sock and Key when they arrive, and when they're gonna be giving you their money and giving you their credit card information, we need to put them at ease and make sure that they know we are legit. So we're gonna create some pages in our store to kind of confirm that we're the real deal and that they should feel good shopping with us. So to do that, we go to Online Store and then click on Pages. And here we're gonna create some of the key component pages that you see on websites across the internet. So for example, an About Us page. This is where you can tell a little bit about why you're doing what you're doing, the motivation behind your store. In this case, how much we love socks and why we love them so much, just to make sure they know that this is something that you are serious about. So we won't write an entire About Us page, but this is where you would do kind of the biography of your store and explain why people should be buying from you. Another important thing if you're gonna be dropshipping is a shipping details page. This is a chance for you to do some expectation setting. If somebody buys socks from your store, it will almost certainly take longer for them to get them than if they bought them from a more established online store or off of Amazon. And so it's good to right up front tell them what to expect with shipping. So let them know that they're going to be getting a confirmation email as soon as they place the order. Let them know that there will be a tracking number if you are going to have access to a tracking number. Anything we can do to set the expectation and make sure that if they have to wait 7 or 10 or 15 days for their product, that they're going to be okay with that because they anticipated it from the beginning. So now we have About Us, we have shipping, and then another good thing to do to make people feel comfortable is give a Contact Us page. This way, if they have any questions about anything they couldn't find, for example, questions about shipping, they can get in touch with you. Of course, you want to explain as much as you can on those other pages, but people will always find questions about your store and about your products. And again, they're giving you money, so we need to accept that they're going to have questions, and that's fine. And so we will plug in an email address and make sure that they know that they can get in touch with us if they need to. It's worth noting here that Shopify will automatically give you the info at email address. And so whatever your domain is, info at that domain will automatically be yours. And so that's what we're going to put here on the Contact Us page. Once we create those pages, we want to make sure that people can find them. And so we're going to go to Navigation. All right, so here in the navigation section, we're gonna click on Hauptmenü. We're in Germany at the moment, and so Hauptmenü is German for main menu. So what we're gonna do is edit the items that appear in the main menu of our store. So we're gonna rename Help Menu to Main Menu and then add some items that people would expect to find here. So one of the links we'll have is About Us. Make sure people know what we're all about. And then you can choose which page to link to. Here we go, we find the About Us page and then click on Add. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the shipping details and with the Contact Us page. And again, this is a good thing to do just to make sure that people feel completely comfortable shopping at your store. Chances are that they might not have been here before. And so anything we can do in terms of information and details and contacts will help us convert customers that get here. So now that we've added those to the main navigation, we can click on this little eye here and take a look at how our website looks. And now it's really looking more and more like a website. There's information to be found across the top. The images look great. The buttons look great. It's very organized and things are really coming together. All right, now that we have lots of the components of the website in place, we need to get ready for when people do start placing orders. One of the big things there is to customize your shipping settings. So we're gonna go into settings and click on shipping. And this is how we can make sure that everything's clear with how our products get to our customers. So we are in Germany, and so the domestic shipping zone by default is Germany. The default rate amount is 10 euros, but we want to promote free shipping to most of our target markets, and so we're gonna make the amount nothing because free shipping is gonna be a big selling point for us. So now the domestic shipping rates are free, and we're gonna save that. All right, now that we have free shipping set up in our domestic zone, we wanna create another free shipping zone that includes our big target markets. So we're gonna call this zone Big 4 plus Europe. Now, when I say Big 4, I'm referring to 4 huge e-commerce markets of the UK, the US, Canada, and Australia. Oberlo users have had a ton of success targeting these countries, and they're definitely ones that you're gonna wanna keep in mind as you set up your advertising and SEO strategies. So we definitely want those to have free shipping, and then we'll also be trying to cater to European customers. And so we're gonna go in here and add Europe, just all of Europe, to our free shipping zone. And so we'll click the Europe checkbox, and you can see here that the Asian countries are not included, but that everything in Europe is. And so we're gonna add all of those countries to this free shipping zone. Double check, make sure they're all there. They are. And then we're going to make sure that the rates are where we want them. And where we want them for this one is free. So there's no minimum order price to get this free shipping. So we'll keep the minimum order price at free. We're gonna call this free shipping. Our customers will see this at checkout, and we wanna remind them that they're not paying anything for shipping. It's a good idea to make sure they know about it, and then to make sure that they remember that they got it after they make their purchase. They'll feel a little bit better about their order, knowing that they got something for free. All right, so now we have our domestic zone set up as well as our main target zone. This is gonna be free shipping for those 62 countries as well as the domestic zone. And then there's still 170 countries that we could ship to. And as we're launching our store, we're just going to, for now, not worry too much about these other countries. And so you can see that the default rate amount is 20 euros. We're just gonna leave that. If you think 20 euros is really high for a pair of socks, you're right, it definitely is. But again, we're not gonna be targeting these countries, and we might not be entirely sure how shipping works in those countries. And so we're just gonna leave that as a really expensive option that probably nobody will choose at the moment, but that's fine because we still have dozens and dozens of countries to work on. Another thing that we need to adapt in addition to our shipping zones are our checkout settings. And so here we're gonna go quickly through the different things that you need to consider for checkout. So this top part, customer accounts, refers to whether or not people need to have an account at your store to be able to make a purchase. By default, it says accounts are disabled. We can leave it like that. The only one of those options that you really don't want is accounts are required. We don't want to make people sign up to something just to make a purchase. This is going to kill conversion. And so either accounts are disabled or accounts are optional is what we want. You could incentivize accounts by offering a discount or other incentives, but definitely we do not want to make that required. Then we have our form options. So we want to only require the last name. We're not going to ask for the company name. We only want the bare bones of their address, just enough to make sure that we can get them their product. Okay, and then for the order processing settings, we just need to make sure that everything is set up the way that we want. And think about how you would want to purchase something. So when it talks about requiring a confirmation step, for example, I personally always like to take one last look at my order before I fork over the money. I think so. It's a good idea to have that, and it's a good idea to kind of just match these settings the way that you yourself would want to shop. It's also very important that we create refund, privacy, and terms of service statements. Now, this is some super technical stuff that might not sound like much fun, but it's really important just because we're going to have a business, and businesses take care of these things. And so Shopify makes this really simple by letting you generate a sample refund policy. So that's what we're going to do. Now they're going to use the email that you gave when you signed up for Shopify, which is going to be different than the email, the info@ email that we talked about earlier. And so what we're going to do is go in here, search for the different instances where your personal email shows up, and then change that to the business email, the info@ email that we get when we sign up for Shopify. So just do a search, Control F for the @ sign, find all the instances where it talks about your email, and then swap those out with the business email that we're going to use for our store. And this business email, it's also the one that you want to use when you send, for example, confirmation emails or order shipment emails. Don't want to use your personal one, let's use the business one. So swap those out, and then we just need to make sure that all of this stuff is available and accessible to the customers. Because again, anytime there's money involved, we need to make sure that they know exactly what's going on and don't have any lingering questions. So we're going to save those, and now a lot of the nuts and bolts, the logistical stuff that we have to do is getting taken care of. So we have the shipping zones, we have the refund policies, the checkout settings, and this is the stuff that isn't sexy to work on, but it's totally important and really required if you want to have a thriving store. All right, while we're talking about checkout, another thing we're going to want to do is set up our different payment options. So to do that, we're going to click on Settings in the bottom left corner, and then on Payment Providers. Now, as you can see here, PayPal is going to be incorporated into your store by default. That's cool. We'll keep that. PayPal is super popular. Another option, though, that we want to let people use when they're shopping at the store is credit card. So we need to select a credit card payment provider. The one that we would recommend is Stripe. They accept most credit cards that anybody would be using at your store, and the transaction fees are very reasonable as far as these things go. And so we'll just click on Stripe and then hit Activate. Now, this is another spot where you're going to be asked to fork over some details, and this might be the sort of form that you just race through and put in whatever, but because we're talking about money, because we're talking about a business, you do need to be very precise with how you answer these questions. So we're going to link Stripe to our website and also to our bank account, and that way whenever money comes into your store via a purchase, Stripe is going to know where they should send it to make sure that it reaches your pocket. If you're in the US or Canada, then Shopify Payments will be your #1 choice when it comes to credit card payment providers. There's no transaction fee with Shopify Payments, so that's where you'll want to go. It's not available all over the world, so over here in Europe, we don't have access to it just yet. If you want to see a complete list of where Shopify Payments is available, check out the link in the description. All right, now let's hop back over to my screen to finish up our store. All right, our store is coming along nicely. We just have a few loose ends to tie up, and one of those is buying a domain. So to do this, we're going to go to Online Store and click on Domain, and then Buy New Domain. Now this is really important because we don't want people to be navigating to a URL like sock-key.myshopify.com. That's a really clunky address to type in. It's also not good for our branding because we still have the .myshopify thing in there. So to replace that, we're gonna buy a fresh domain that's unique to us, that people will remember, and that really speaks to our brand. So Shopify, as you can see, has a really cool feature where you can simply type in the different domains that you're interested in. It will tell you whether or not they are available, and then you can snare the ones that you want. So here, sockandkey.de is one that we're going to want to buy as we are in Germany and we'll be targeting the German market. You can auto renew this domain every year for $14 or not. We're gonna untick that just because we're just getting started and don't wanna commit to anything just yet. It takes just a few seconds to buy the domain, and then within moments, this will be where our store lives. All right, so our domains are bought, our credit card system is set up, our shipping zones are set up, we have collections of products. We're really almost at the finish line here of launching our store. One more step we have to do is to disable the password protection that we have on our homepage. So by default, Shopify password protects your homepage. And so if you go to the domain we just bought, it's gonna be hidden behind a wall like this, where it says opening soon, sign up for more details, etc. You can customize this page so that it looks cooler, but by default, this is what it looks like, and it prevents people from entering. You can enter, as you see in the top right, by dropping in a password, but of course we can't expect our shoppers to use passwords for this stuff. So we're gonna disable the password, and to do this, this is when you need to get out your credit card and pick a Shopify plan. So here it says to disable your password page, you need to pick a plan. So we're gonna go ahead and click on pick a plan, and this is where we select how much money we'll pay and which Shopify setup we'll have after our free trial ends. And so even after you do this, your free trial is still in effect and you're not gonna be paying anything, but after the free trial ends, then the plan you pick here will kick in. We're just getting started, we don't need any bells and whistles, so we're gonna do the $29 per month plan. All right, click on disable password, and here we go. We will just uncheck that box now that we've picked a plan, hit save, and now our store will be live for anybody who punches in our URL. All right, and then here is the premiere of Sock and Key. We have the navigation that we set up, the shop now buttons. These are the collections that we curated, the images, the buttons, the newsletter sign up. This is everything that we set up. The only difference now is that we can actually make payments and buy products. All right, one thing we're gonna do to make our store look a bit more professional is add a favicon. Now, a favicon is this little icon that you see on the different tabs of your browser. It's super easy to set this up. We just go into our theme settings, select favicon, and then we're gonna upload an image. Now, we don't wanna use the image that we use for our logo because there's too much going on there and it's not gonna look good when it's shrunk down to fit inside of a tab. So we're just gonna go with our most basic design, which is this S. Select that, and then it's gonna be uploaded into your website. So now, next time we refresh the page, our favicon is gonna be there, just like any store on the web. And we'll refresh the page, and here the favicon pops up for Sock and Key. Okay, now we've set the top navigation of our site to have all the basic information there, and we wanna do the same thing with the footer. This is something that customers are going to expect. They always look for information at the bottom. So it's important to have some of the basic information that they'll want in the footer so that it's easy to find. So to do that, we're gonna go back into our online store, click on navigation, and then here go to footer. By default, there will be a search function available for your customers that lets them look for keywords that your products might contain. But we're gonna wanna give them a few more details, and you can look around the web to see what other stores are doing for this. For us, we're going to include our About Us page, maybe give them some additional info about contacting us. Again, this doesn't need to be anything revolutionary or new, but we just want to make sure that our shoppers feel comfortable and that there's nothing that they're looking for that they can't find. And the footer is a great place, it's an expected place to put that sort of information. Okay, so now we navigate back to the site and we can do a little bit of shopping. Let's see what's going on in the women's socks collection. Here we have our blue-eyed cat 3D anklet socks at the great price of $3.99. We're gonna go ahead and add those to our cart and then check out. So right now, we're playing the role of a customer, and it's important, when you do launch your store, that you go through these same steps yourself. You wanna see how the navigation works, you wanna make sure there's no dead links, and that there's no surprises as somebody is searching around your store. And the best way to do that is to just go ahead and navigate around your store and do some shopping like a normal customer would, just to get a feel for what they're gonna see. All right, we're gonna check out with PayPal here. As a customer, we've already entered in our ship to address. We'll keep the billing address the same as the shipping address, and then complete the order. Okay, so after we enter in our PayPal details, we get to the thank you page, the confirmation page, where we get to check our order, look at the address, and make sure everything looks good. Here is a quick peek at the automated email that your customer will get after they place the order. And then here is a look at the email that you will get telling you that somebody has placed an order. And then you will also have a notification about this order over in Shopify. So you can see here that the orders tab has a 1 next to it, and this is where we need to go to fulfill the order. So here we have the specifics about what's happened at your store. We see how much they paid, who the customer was, the order number, and the supplier. Now, fulfilling this order will be as simple as clicking on Order Products, and then this is where you yourself pay for the order. So on the Shopify side, you received a payment from your customer. Here, however, is where you cover the actual cost of the product. So the difference between the cost that you pay here and the price that you just got from Shopify, that's gonna be your profit. But of course, you need to take care of the base cost of the product itself. So we're gonna enter in our details just like your customer did at the store and make the purchase. And then when we click on Order Products here, the supplier is going to get the payment and know that the product needs to be shipped to whatever address you see here in the Oberlo app. So this is the information that you got from the customer at your store, and it's automatically placed here inside of Oberlo and passed over to the supplier. So this is where the product will go, because this is what matches what we got from Shopify. Now that you've taken care of the order on the Oberlo side, we need to fulfill it in Shopify. So we see the order right here. We know that we've received our payment. We also know that we went ahead and placed the order, so we can click on Fulfill. Now this step is important if you have automated emails going to your customers, because this will trigger that email that says your order has been shipped. They can anticipate that things are moving so that they can get their order. And then here is that confirmation email I was talking about. The customer will get this as soon as you fulfill it in Shopify. So to recap, we selected products in Oberlo, we set up a store in Shopify, and then we pushed those products from Oberlo to Shopify. Then we made our store feel more like a store, and it all took about an hour. Is there anything we touched on that didn't make sense? Anything that wasn't clear? Let us know. I check through the comments all the time, and we'll get back to you with an answer. Until next time, learn often, market better, and sell more.